My name's Dan Brzezowski, and I'm the host of the No Comfort Zone podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to sit down and talk with Joe Slaughter about Joe following his purpose and his passion to become a professional dancer. But it doesn't end there. His journey of success is absolutely amazing. Joe literally has danced his way to success, and I can't wait for you to meet Joe inside the No Comfort Zone.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
This is success and motivation in the No Comfort Zone. And unbelievably, I was able to get my man, Joe Slaughter, on the phone so we can do an interview. Because I'll tell you what, in the time that I've met Joe, which was, forever and a day ago, his life, his career is just the trajectory, is easy for me to say, paid speaker, has gone nothing but up. Salt of the earth guy, and I thought it would be great. He is ideal to have on this show because if you're dealing with adversity or if you're going after goals, which I believe are one and the same, this is a guy, his story I just think is unbelievable. And I've seen it firsthand. So Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brzezowski. How are you?
Right on. Phenomenal. Outstanding. I'm doing great and better now that I finally got you on the phone.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So tell me about this. So right now you're currently living where and what are you doing right now?
So currently I'm in Marina Del Rey, California, which is pretty much Los Angeles, just on the outskirts. I'm on the west side, right by like Venice and Santa Monica. Mm-hmm. And I've been out here. This is actually, what is today, the 18th? So as of tomorrow, actually, fun fact, as of tomorrow, I will have been out here for 14 years.
That's amazing. It seems like yesterday.
It really does. I mean, the time, I wish high school went by this fast. It's crazy.
That's true. Right on. So, okay, so you're living, what brought you out to California? What's going on? What do you do? What's happening out there? What's it like?
Yeah, so, I actually didn't have a plan to move out to California initially. What had happened was while I was working at the dealership where we met, I ended up just trying out for this show, So You Think You Can Dance, if you're familiar with it.
Sure am.
And at the time, it was the first season. So no one really knew about it, whatever. And I went ahead and decided to audition for the show because I'm a dancer like professionally now for this whole time, and my background was dance, and I competed for years, and this competition came up, and I just thought I might as well try, because what do you got to lose? I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen if you try something, right? Someone says no or it doesn't work out, but fear is not, it's not something to be afraid of failure. So I was like, might as well give it a whirl. And sure enough, I got far enough where they brought me back for, a few more weeks. And I ended up making it back to the Los Angeles, what they called Hollywood Week. And I just got through the week. I didn't make it past that. So I think I got to like top 25 or top 50, something like that. But I spent this time in LA. And when I came back, I realized or had this epiphany that, there was a market out there and I might actually be able to pursue it and at least try to, maybe get some dance jobs out of it, do something that I really enjoy. Because I love to dance. That was really the crux of why I decided to do it. And it brought me a lot of joy. I didn't really have a game plan for how I was going to make it work, but I knew I wanted it. So I took it a step at a time. And I got back, that was probably June or July. And by September, this time in September, that year, I moved to Los Angeles, and I never looked back.
You know what? That's awesome. I found out through your dad's a professional photographer. He did my headshots and stuff, and your
Right.
dad's just a great guy. And I remember him giving when I hired him to do some work for me, he gave me some play by play of what you were going through, and he
Right.
says, "Yeah, you're actually getting involved more and more, and things are turning around and going well for you." And it was nice to hear that, but I had no idea. I mean,
No.
Joe, we met, right? Just really quick, we met.
Mhm.
You came to the dealership to apply for a job to detail cars. That's what I remember of it. And then
Correct.
your enthusiasm was such at a top. I mean, your enthusiasm was off the charts. I talk about the 4 E's on this podcast: energy, excitement, enthusiasm, and engagement. And if you have one of those, you're going to be more successful than somebody that doesn't. You have all four. And when you came in, you were on fire with enthusiasm. And then when you told me you wanted to sell cars, that was what your real goal was. And then you blew me away when we were in that first training class. And I asked everybody, why do you want to sell cars? And all these grown men, there was 15 guys in the room. And all these guys are saying, you know, I want more money, vacation with my family. I want the Rolex. Somebody even said at one point, I want to drive a Mercedes, and we're selling Hondas. That was funny to me. But I got to you and you said you wanted to dance. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And remember, you said hip hop. And I was like, I don't even understand what that is. I mean, you got to, when was that? 2000?
Oh man, I got there and now because I didn't turn 18 until 2003, so that must have been 2003.
Okay, so 2003, you're telling me you want to dance hip hop. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I was
Yeah.
blown away. Talk about out of your comfort zone. And this is what this whole show embodies. You actually got up in front of everybody with no music and complete strangers. You started dancing hip hop in front of that room. Do you remember that?
I do, and I think I was wearing a track jacket too. I think I put like a just so I could get in the mood a little, you know, so I could feel myself. But I do. I actually vividly remember that sales meeting.
That was awesome.
And you obviously remember Kurt Rice. Well, I got a employee of the month like bear thing that they were doing. Remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
And
the Pride Bear.
I still have it. I still have it to this day. I put it up in my room, and it was Kurt Rice saying "Dancing Man," and like he gave me the kudos, and I just remember that meaning so much to me. And I don't know, obviously I know why, because it was like both of my worlds were coming together, and this one side that had nothing to do with the other, I was getting validation from it, and I got to be honest, like even in hindsight, looking at it, you guys. And by you guys, I mean like the managers, the GSMs, the sales managers, even the other salesmen. I always got a lot of support for my dance. Like you guys never like looked at it as like this weird thing. You guys kind of embraced me for it. And when I decided to leave, like it was like you all were like, finally, like good, go, do your thing.
Absolutely.
And to me, that was a huge part of my ability to just execute and make that decision to leave, because I felt like it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, and you know what, Joe?
You guys.
Well, let's go back on that because of your enthusiasm and your passion for what you wanted to do. You already had us all sold because you completely got uncomfortable in that moment, or at least I think I would be uncomfortable. And you just got out there and what did you do? You showed us that you love dance, and everyone bought in. And it seems like everything that you did after that, your moves, your lifestyle and everything supported you in your decision. You definitely have a gift in knowing what you want. So now you get really successful. You were doing really well with car sales. Customers absolutely loved you. And then all of a sudden I ended up leaving to go become a national sales trainer and deal with my personal issues. But on the same note, then you go up to California. After California and you started to get jobs, how did that look? What was that about?
So, and this is what's so crazy about life, I believe that once you make a conscious decision that you want something and you've decided in your head that you're going to go for that goal, right? You kind of tune out everything else and you don't know how maybe you're going to get there. Like Jack Campbell had a great quote, and I think about this quote all the time in Chicken Soup for the Soul. And he said that you can get from Los Angeles to New York in nighttime only seeing 200 feet in front of you at a time.
Absolutely.
So I didn't know how I was going to get from New York to LA or LA to New York, but I knew that I could see far enough ahead to take the next step. Mm-hmm. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I moved out there with a mutual buddy of mine that danced as well. We found a person that was in the industry, a dancer that we had worked with on our competition team that was able to give us cheap housing. And I took a job. I worked at a really popular restaurant out here for about 8 months. And in that time, my focus was taking class, improving my abilities, and getting an agent. Because the only way you're going to work in this town really is if you have an agent that can get you in front of, casting directors or people who want to book you for work. And, and basically I was doing that for this 8 months. And within that time frame, I started to get these sporadic jobs here and there through mutual friends and just basically people's word of mouth, stuff like that. You do one job, it kind of snowballs. This town's very incestual in that way. Like everyone knows everybody, and like you got it. Once you start working, it can kind of snowball. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. Sure enough, I start to get agents. I think I did a fashion show actually as a model on the side, and I happened to and a dance agent with the agency that I really wanted to be on or be a part of was at that show. And I was dancing in the runway show, just off the cuff, like doing it. And sure enough, the show ends and she comes up to me and she's like, hey, do you have representation? Do you dance? And I'm just like, well, yeah, no, I don't have representation, but I would love to. And yes, I dance. And that's kind of how that started. And, within that 8 months, I booked a national, well, it was a world tour really for a Chinese artist. And I spent I probably spent just under a year in Taiwan, Singapore, mainland China, doing this concert and touring. My first show on the road that I ever did, big concert, was in China. And we were in a soccer stadium and there was about 60,000 people.
Really?
For the show. Yeah. And I literally just started crying because it was so overwhelming to be on this stage. And it was a culmination of a lot of things, and I thought about my life in Chicago and how did I get to this point? And, to me, it was just having faith that if your intention is good or your intention is there, people don't understand the power of manifestation. They don't understand the power. I don't want to say people in general, because some people do, but I would say by and large, most people don't grasp the ability that their own minds have to dictate the external circumstances that are happening around them. And I'll say this, sure, there might be 10% of your circumstances that are out of your control, the things that you cannot control that you have to deal with, whatever that is. But the other 90% are things that you can skew, adjust, change, have control over, have a choice about. It's a choice. How you deal with things, how you handle problems as they come up, how you approach your approach to dealing with your career and what you want out of it. And to me, the most important thing was having that goal, something that I could reach for all the time, that I wasn't, because once you get complacent and you're like, all right, I reached this goal. If I just wanted to go on tour with an artist, I reached that goal pretty quickly. But from that, I adjusted, I evolved. I was like, okay, I've reached this goal. What can I do to keep my enthusiasm and my passions up? Because you can't accomplish anything in this world of significance unless you have passion and the drive to actually do it. And both of those are mutual, because you can't have passion without drive, and you can't have drive without passion and get something done. You might be driven, but if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to get through those hiccups and those lulls and those moments where you're like, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What's the purpose? This seems too hard. There's so much going on. You have to have that idea in your head that there's going to be, there's going to be progress if you just focus on the things that you really want and let your passions drive your successes, because that's all my life has been in a nutshell. I've never really subscribed to listen. I listen to people here and there, whatever, but at the end of the day, no one's going to know your heart except for you. No one's going to know what you really want out of your life except for you. And if they try to tell you that or whatever, you're just prescribing or fulfilling a prescription of someone else's anecdote for what they think you need to do with your life. And you'll never find happiness that way. My happiness is hard sometimes because it requires me to make decisions that may not be popular, or they may give me a bit of uncomfort or discomfort for a period of time so I can get to that next level. But if you have that idea in your head and you see it for yourself, you're going to find a way there. Period. You just got to keep that image in your mind at all times and remind yourself why you're doing it.
Man, I am spending a lot of time in that space right now about manifestation.
Yeah.
You heard of Dr. Joel Dispenza? I've been following him a little bit, and also big into the law of attraction. And also, my favorite book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. That's a
Spent a
great
lot of
book.
time on that. I've talked a lot about it on the podcast too. So you're dancing in front of 60,000 people. And
Mhm.
what happens after that? What was the next part of your succession?
Um, so I came back from that, and then let's see. I ended up getting. So at that time, by then I'm pretty well established in the dance community. I've done a few different commercials,
I saw
different like.
that.
Yeah, the commercial work's kind of the best stuff because it's the fastest, it pays the quickest, and the residuals are usually really good if it's a national. But so I started to do all that, and then I got in with a choreographer named Robin Anton. She started the Pussycat Dolls. I don't know if you're familiar with the group,
Very
but
familiar. Yeah. Man, actually. Yeah.
yeah. So the choreographer Robin used me for one of her other small girl groups, and then this tour came up with the Dolls, and she called me and had me audition. And long story short, I ended up booking that. And we went on the road, and I was in Europe with Gaga, Lady Gaga, it was Neo, and the Pussycat Dolls. And actually,
Wow.
at the time, if you can believe it, because this was like 2009, Gaga was opening for Neo, who was opening for the Dolls. And
That's wild.
today it would be completely flipped. And we did about, I think we did about 40 or 50 cities out there. And so what we were supposed to do was fly back to the U.S. and do a U.S. leg, and the Dolls were going to open for Britney Spears. That was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And we all fly back, and as soon as we land, I'm not kidding, as soon as we land, turn on our phones, we're on an international flight, turn on our phones, we all get messages from our agents saying that they're not extending the guys for the tour leg of the Pussycat Dolls because it's smaller budget. They're cutting out half the songs that we're in, and it's like a smaller set and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I land to finding out that I have no job, and that's how this industry goes. It happens. I've showed up to commercial sets that I've gotten sent home on because they decided that they wanted to go with a different type of person or different, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, I mean, really, you're a piece of meat. So you have to be resilient in this industry. But when it hits, it can be very rewarding. So I didn't, I was bummed, but I didn't let it ruin, my drive to want to be successful or anything like that. It's just, I chalked it up to life. So I get back, and very shortly after that, I got an audition for this dance movie for Step Up, and I had never acted on camera, as it were. I'd done stuff in high school or whatever, but I got this audition for Step Up. I ended up putting myself on tape on it. Well, I actually flew back to Chicago after I lost my job because I had given up my apartment. I didn't have a place to live right away. And I'm like, I just need to go home and regroup for a minute. And just like, I wasn't moving back. I just needed to figure out what I was going to do. And while I'm in Chicago, I got a call from my agent to do a submission or video submission for this Step Up movie. And I did. And I ended up getting a call back. But the callback was in New York. So they're like, can you fly to New York and meet with the director, who was John Chu, and do a read with him? And I'm like, absolutely. And so I get out there and I coach on the audition and I do all this stuff. And I go into their office and I read for John and his assistant. And I felt like I did a good job, but they were kind of like, they weren't giving me anything. Like I didn't know, like feedback wise, like what they were thinking. And they treated me like I had just walked in from down the street, like I lived there, and like I just came in for a quick audition. And it was like, I read and they're like, oh, okay, thanks for coming in. And it was just like,
Oh, wow.
I just got like a 6-hour flight. Like they were so nonchalant about it, and I was just so I thought I'd blown it. So I was really upset about it, and so I fly home, and I kind of like after a week or so I let it go. Well, 2 weeks later, I get a call from my agent, and she's like, hey, you booked the role. And I was like, what? Literally like one of the most shocking bookings I've ever gotten. Like I just totally dismissed it. And and so I booked it. And then, fast forward a couple months later, I'm in New York for 3 months and we're filming and doing all this stuff. And, and then Step Up came out a little less than a year after that. And, just all kind of catapulted from that. And then I started working a lot more, doing a lot more acting stuff and commercial stuff. And, I do print work and modeling stuff too. But, and it's just been kind of like that since. I feel very fortunate because I know the statistics in this town. And even to be a mild success in this town is very difficult, where you can make a living doing what you do. And I've been fortunate in that respect. And, it's been just kind of like this wild, and I got to be honest, it's not all easy road. There's lulls and there's ups and down times, and there's, sometimes you're wondering where your next job's coming from and whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm still doing something that I thoroughly enjoy, where I go out and I feel like I'm living my best life. I'm using my talents and my abilities to their maximum potential. And there's nothing more, I would say, depressing than to see somebody who's got potential, or who you see raw talent in about something, or who can do something, and they don't use it. They don't utilize it. They just either get lazy or complacent, or they blame society for their mishaps, or whoever, the victim, whatever their victimhood is about it, they blame, or they don't find their own path. There's nothing worse than having a gift or a vision or something and not using it. And to me, I always thought it would be much better off for me to go after what I can do better than, anything else that I can do, and fail, than just taking on a job where I'm trying to make a paycheck and yeah, I'm getting by, but I'm working every day and I'm hating it while I'm doing it. And, that's why I stick it out, really.
Which is awesome because, you think about everyone. I saw you on a commercial. I think it was a Chase commercial. Is that correct? Did you do
Discover card?
Discover. Okay. A Discover card. I saw that and I was like sitting back there, and it's like, I was really had this sense of pride just to know you. Yeah. And I went back to that moment when we met and when you danced in front of all of us. But then I also go back to when my daughter was looking to get into dance. You suggested a school. What school was that you told her to go to?
I think it was Extreme, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that in Itasca?
No, it was in Naperville.
Naperville, that's the one. And yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was on the team. I competed with them before I moved to LA.
So yeah, you have that experience of, when you're a young kid, going through dance, and then all of this passion that you have for it, and you're really good at it. You're insanely good at it. Even the videos that you put up on Facebook and stuff, it's entertaining to watch. It's just you doing your few little dances that you do. It's pretty cool. Actually, my daughter, Christina, she's 25. She's a huge fan of you. My daughter, who's 20, Maddie, she's 21 now, actually. You signed a headshot 8x10 for her. She still has it. She's a huge fan. And I think because of you following your passion, seeing your vision and following through on it, you inspired me, Joe. You inspired them as well. So what's next for you? Where are you headed to now in your life? I mean, let me take one step back first. Your movie was absolutely awesome. I was a fan of the first Step Up. I love dancing. I used to break dance as a kid. I still to this day at 50 would love nothing more than to break dance like I used to. I just enjoy it. My workout music is breakdance music, but you have this elegance, you have this flow, you have this grace to you, and you're manly. It's all that good stuff that comes in a dancer, highly athletic, but you just got a lot of grace to you as well. And then the next Step Up, I love that one too. And then when I find out that you're cast, weren't you the bad guy?
I was the bad guy.
That's even better yet, because it's so not you.
I know.
So not you. Yeah, that was great.
I don't know. I got him. I just channeled my brothers. I think that's where I got into it.
Awesome. I know one of your brothers too really well. Wow, that's cool. So that was so great to see, and even the commercials, and then even your modeling too. I mean, just so you know, if you see a lot of people creeping on you, I used you when I do sales training or when I did management training. When you follow your dreams, your passion. This is a guy that I know, and I knew him when he was 18 years old, and here he is now. And people look at your picture and they're like, man, that's a really good looking guy. I mean, you've really got it all. You got the whole package. But more importantly is you're a really nice, driven guy. You've got a work ethic like nobody else. And where is that going to lead you now? What are you hoping for? Where are you working towards?
So, what I'm actually working on right now is, like I said earlier, when I reached that goal of getting on stage and doing that concert, I mean, I couldn't, beyond repeating that, I couldn't get any higher in that echelon of what I was doing to be like, this is the coup de grace, right? So you got to keep changing it. So I got into more acting stuff, and I've been focusing on that a lot. So what I'm really trying to do right now is take a step, not take a step back from dance, because I'm always going to dance. Like, that's just in my blood. But I've been avidly acting and pursuing acting for 10 years now. So I have written a script with the help of a person who is a Boston College University writer, and she's very talented. And I have written a script for a car movie that is basically going to be kind of like a new franchise to Fast and the Furious, but my own vision of what that's going to be like. And I really want to produce it bad. I have the scripts done. I'm literally trying to shop it right now. So that's awesome, that's my big next goal. If I can get that done and I can get that financed and backed and I can distribute it, that would be like a huge step for me.
I don't know if this is appropriate or not to say on the show, but I remember when you bought your first motorcycle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And did you have a little issue with that?
Yeah, I had my first motorcycle, and that was my last motorcycle.
Yeah.
I had it for about 4 or 6 months or something. And I went on lunch break at Honda with, remember Ryan? Ryan Durst? Yeah. So we were out cruising, and I was on that frontage road in front of Streets of Woodfield, and the road rose and broke to the right, and I didn't realize it broke to the right, and I kind of went off into the gravel and slid about 60 feet and walked away from a pole about 3 feet away from me. And I'm like, I think I'm good on the motorcycles. So I've been doing 4 wheels ever since. Right on.
And you have, like, wasn't your sister involved in racing? Is that right? Or like really enjoyed speed and like your whole family's really involved, aren't they?
Yeah, we're all like really into cars. My middle brother, Nick, is a master mechanic for like Mercedes right now. And he works on Rolls Royces and Porsches. But I'm just a huge car guy. You know how much I love Hondas, and I've been building them. My sister was a motorcycle. Her and her husband are big into, Supercross or super bike or whatever it is. And she had a bike until she had kids, and so she sold them. But yeah, and then my oldest brother, we're all into racing, so it's just a big kind of our family, and it's like another passion of mine, really. But I just thought, with all these car movies out there, there's, as a true car enthusiast, there's no real, like even Need for Speed I watch, and I'm listening to these actors do their car jargon, and I'm just like, as a car guy, I'm like, no one talks like this. I'm like, this is a terrible.
That's awesome, because that's so cool. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just working on what I know, and I think that's important to say too. Like, know your strengths. And coincidentally, I would say your strengths are derived from your passions. I mean, because what you're passionate about, you're going to excel in. So whatever your strengths are, really focus on those things, because that's what's going to give you your edge to make yourself stand out and to be, even if you're applying it in something that you may not be like totally into, like if it's a job, whatever. If you have really good people skills, that's going to make you a better person in that job. Like whatever your skills are, like you need to focus on those.
So true.
Passionate about.
This whole no comfort zone thing that I do, and I do like personal coaching for people. It's not life coaching. It's like people that are dealing with adversity. Like I went through my own little thing and I figured something out. I had to lose a bunch of weight. I used this blueprint that I created. And it's funny, the things that you're mentioning right now, it's ironic that we're talking about this. I look at you as successful because of the life you're living, not where you've been, but the life you're living. You're doing things on your own terms. You deal with a little bit of adversity, you find success, and you have joy in the process. And this whole blueprint that I created pretty much identifies the things that you figured out naturally. Well, some of us out there need a little bit of help, and that's what the blueprint's for. So, which is pretty cool that you've gotten this far just by your passion and your drive. And, that script that you're working on, that's ideal. I think that's so awesome. I wish you nothing but success on that. And I hope you do shop it around. If somebody needs to get a hold of you, like, are you okay to give your handle on Instagram, on your social media? Because now would be a good time to let people know, like if they want to know more about Joe and become a super fan of Joe, where do they find you?
Instagram's probably the best. Just Joe Slaughter 1. That's my handle. If you type in Joe Slaughter, I should pop up. But you can hit me on there. I mean, I'm on Facebook as well. I have like a private page on Facebook, but I don't really have Instagram is probably the best thing because it's just I don't really do Facebook and too much anymore. I try not to, um, yeah, that and you know you can always I take emails and stuff too, which you can find on my Instagram. So, but if just Joe Slaughter 1 is my handle. That'd probably be the best way. And you wanted to reach out, just send me a message.
Right on. I really appreciate that. So Joe, we're going to wrap it up right now. And what I want to tell you is I know you're a busy guy. I hope everything went well with you today. I know you had some meetings that you had to attend, and I appreciate you taking the time out for the people in the No Comfort Zone. I had no idea. I'm in roughly, I think I figured it out. I think I'm in 40 countries now, and like 85% of the United States is where I'm at. And just really appreciate you taking time to talk to us about this. I'm passionate about helping people set goals and hit them. I'm real passionate about people getting out of adversity and living their true life, their best life. And by you talking right now, Joe, you're helping a lot of people. So I completely appreciate your time. Before we close, though, I got one more thing for you.
So,
all right. And what are two of the biggest things that you think impacted your success or your drive or your passion? Two things that you can say that really helped you along the way.
Okay. First one is keep your nose to the grindstone. Like the less you look up, the less distracted you're going to be. Okay. And I don't mean don't have vision, because you always want to reiterate your vision, but like when you decide that you want to do something and you make that choice, you should follow it with laser precision focus. You should block out everything else that you can, whether it's friends that are drinking, look, just by choosing a healthier lifestyle, I mean, I know in some places it's harder than others, but like what you put into your body, what you do on a day-to-day for your own health, that has a monumental effect on your psychology and your attitude when you're dealing with things. Because if you're not on your top level and you're not thinking clearly, you're weak. Okay, it's easy to fall into depression. It's easy to fall into these pockets. And if you're drinking, if you're abusing anything, if you're keeping yourself surrounded by people who are negative, you're the sum of the people you hang out with. So if you don't have people that are lifting you up to the level that you want to be at, they're just holding you down. And you need to have I love this word, gumption, and the wherewithal for yourself to want it more than these people and these distractions are going to try and take you down. Because you got to remember, the world doesn't care if you succeed or not. It doesn't care, doesn't know. You're either going to be successful or you're not. And a lot of that's in your own mind. So if you believe that you can be successful for yourself and you can focus on that long enough, I'm telling you from personal experience, and you're an example of this too, Dan. I've watched you in your life. Like I've seen where you've come from and where you've gone. Like we're talking here because of choices you made. If you see that vision long enough and you repeat it, you will get there. You will get there. It's just how bad do you want it? So you got to find you got to find that reason that makes you want it that bad. And that's what I found. And luckily I found things that made me happy to do it because I found the joy along the way. And remember, like success is not a destination. It's a lifestyle. And success is rented, and rent is due every day. So if you're not giving yourself the best chance for success for that day, you're only hurting yourself. So take care of your body, take care of your mind, surround yourself with people. I know this is more than two things, but these all kind of work together. Surround yourself with people who affirm the things that you see in yourself and believe. Because if they don't, they're not serving the purpose. And enjoy those small successes along the way. And I think another big thing is to take the time out of each day for gratitude. I'm guilty of this myself. I struggle with this too sometimes. But like really, even if especially if you're having a tough day, like take those moments in the morning to take a deep breath. Appreciate the smaller things because manifestation, the vibration of the universe that brings you all the things that you desire, that only matches your inner vibration.
Totally true, man.
So even if you're appreciating small things, like you woke up this morning, be grateful for that. You have two healthy daughters, be grateful for that. Whatever that is for you, find that gratitude and work from there. Because if you're working from a place where your vibrations are like that, the world is your oyster, man. And I tell you, you glow. People they come to you. It'll blow your mind. But just trust it. Trust yourself. That's all I got to say.
That's dynamite, man. And you, about 3 years ago, I experienced the no comfort zone myself. I went through my little process for 60 days. And you're right, Joe. The right people start showing up. Life becomes magical and it becomes more joyful every single day. And when adversity comes, you know how to handle it. Man, this was awesome, Joe. I appreciate the time you took. And I want to say something real quick too. Listen, if you're in a position where you're struggling with a little bit of adversity, or you're looking like in your life you might be stuck, or if you just need help setting goals or achieving your goals, go to launchwithdan.com. Hit me up. We'll schedule that call. I'll call you. And what we'll end up doing is going over my blueprint. But Joe, thanks so much again. I appreciate it. And I hope we can stay connected. And hey, if you're up for it, let's do this again sometime.
You're the man, Dan. You know I am, buddy. So anytime you need it, and best of luck to you.
Right on. Thanks again, Joe. Have a kick-ass rest of your day, man. Good luck with that script, man.
All right. We'll see you then.
Take care, Joe. Thanks.
All right, brother. Thanks, Dan.
So that was the interview with Joe Slaughter from Southern California. Joe Slaughter, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day. I said it 100 times, but I really do want to let you know this, that a guy like Joe comes around once in a lifetime, and you can learn from someone like that. And the best part about it is that Joe is living life on his own terms. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions, getting out of his comfort zone, following his passion, following his purpose, and ultimately achieving success. And if you do want to learn more about that in the no comfort zone, go to launchwithdan.com. I'd love to go over the blueprint with you. We'll schedule a call where I'll call you and we'll get you out of your comfort zone so you can start living on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.